Let's start off with the young Deuce Vaughn, 6th-round pick out of K-State. So far right now, 48 total snaps, 19 attempts, 39 yards, 5 receptions, 19 yards. So coming into this thing, listening to Mike, you figured, oh, well, it's going to be some type of role for Deuce Vaughn. Lies. Mike can't figure out how to utilize Deuce within the game flow outside of maybe one game, the New York Jets. That's about it. So if you look at last week, they pretty much gave up on it. They basically said, okay, we don't really have a plan for him during the games, so we're going to designate him a healthy scratch, and we're going to call up Malik Davis. And they asked Mike, hey, what was that about? Mike said, special teams. He could have said, yeah, we don't really have nothing for Deuce anymore, and he can't do the special teams things, right? Like Malik Davis can do the gunner things. He can run down. He can do kickoff. He ain't doing that with Deuce. And if you're not going to have a plan for him from an offensive standpoint, he really can't help you on game day. So they call up Malik Davis, and unless things change drastically from a usage standpoint in the backfield, which we could argue there's an issue with the usage standpoint in general with the backfield, Deuce Vaughn, barring injury, will probably come along a lot slower. Here's my problem with the situation with Deuce Vaughn. Here's my problem. I just don't think, again, he's even getting a fair shake here. 12 of his 19 carries are between the tackle box. And most of his carries come in a blowout. When the teams know that, the Cowboys are running and they're just trying to give the ball to anybody. And then what pisses me off, it's just like the line hates this young man. Now, the line hasn't been great run blocking in general consistently, but boy, it ain't so great when Deuce gets in there. So I just think they're pretty much tapped on, not even tapped, they just tap out on how to utilize him, which is a bit frustrating because when you go back and you look at the Jets game, when they got Deuce Vaughn on the outside, he had a couple good plays. When they got Deuce Vaughn utilized in the screen game, he had a good play. But if they're just out on it for right now and they're like, hey, man, and you're not going to block for Deuce Vaughn, then, yeah, you really can't play him because he's not going to be able to give you anything from a special team standpoint, and he'd be taking up a roster spot for a guy that can do it. But I do believe, just like a lot of these guys, Kevontae Turpin, Brandon Cooks, are explosives, right? There are ways to utilize these dudes. We're just, for whatever reason, not utilizing them in said way. So if you're not going to do that, then they're going to do what they did last week. Call up Malik Davis. But run blocking in general just hasn't been great. Run blocking for Deuce hasn't been great. Usage for Deuce hasn't been great. And I think they're just tapped out on it, on Deuce Vaughn. For right now. Maybe later, maybe something will pop up. Obviously, guys get dinged up. Things happen. It is what it is. But for Deuce, I think they tried it for the first 6 weeks. They don't like what they see. And let's see what happens moving forward.